everyone, and we hope you've had a lovely Monday. Welcome to our first Cherries Extra Time this season. An opportunity for you as fans to take part interactively in the chat if you wish, or you can come on, give an opinion on pre-season. You also might want to talk about Marcus Tavernier, a player we signed from Middlesbrough today. But get involved. We will have some of the Cherries Red Army team on this evening. And as well, we will be doing a Premier League table tier list predictor because the Premier League does start on Saturday. Now, all you need to do is click the link that's in the description. I will also put it in the chat very, very soon. Allow camera and mic, also enter your name and comes into the studio. You'll be backstage. I'll hopefully see you. And then during the show, we'll bring you on, talk about whatever you want, and you can get involved and help the guys on the tier list predictor. Now, it is a new season, and I want to introduce you to Cherries Red Army. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We went past 1,000 subscribers on YouTube in our promotion season, and we want to kick on as Villa come to Dean Court on Saturday. Also, hit the like button because this really does help the video. You might be watching it back and not live as well. So get involved in the comments and hit the like button. This stream is also sponsored by our sponsors, Aquashine Exteriors, professional jet washing and cleaning services across Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole, including Dorset, Hampshire and Wiltshire. Check out their details below in the description. Their website's in there, their social media, before and after photos, and also give them a call for a free quotation. Please do check out their work. We wouldn't be here as well without our monthly supporters, and I want to mention them straight in on this first live stream, Cherries Extra Time. Thank you to you. We've had a couple new monthly members join us very recently. Thank you to Jonathan Yeo and David Codron. And of course, all those ones that joined us last season and continue to join us, you are massive. Also want to put a big shout out for Ron Westcott, I think, who added a few coffees, one-off donations. So you can become a member or donate at buymeacoffee.com/cherriesredarmy. If you are a member or you do donate during the month that we're currently talking in, you'll also go in to win a giveaway. You'll go into a pot to win a giveaway prize. So get involved with that. More of that to come later on in the month. Right, so Bournemouth are going to be in the Premier League. There's 19 other teams. Can we stay up? We'll find out. If you're joining us from another club, you're probably going to want to know where your team's going to finish. We're going to get a couple of the guys on. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. It's in the description. Let's get on with the Cherries Extra Time and a tier list predictor. We've got a couple of guys joining us, first of all, from Cherries Red Army. We might have a few more later on in the evening. First of all, John, he put out a video yesterday talking about some Bournemouth defenders that could join us very soon. John, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thank you. Thanks for having me on again, Kirk. Yeah, thank you to everyone that's watched that video so far. Had some nice comments and feedback as well, which is great. Hoping to put more out. I know it's not for everyone, but I think you know, looking a little bit more into some of the players that we've been linked with is well, it's interesting for me at least.
Also on this video this evening and on this stream, he's been on a few videos. He'll be on plenty more this season. It's Aaron. Kaye, how are you?
Yeah, very good, Kirk. Thank you. Yeah, looking forward to this. Not long to go now. Moment of truth is nearly upon us. So yeah, see how we go.
And welcome Marcus Tavernier to the Cherries. He signed this morning. Chris Hubble is joining us. We've also got Mark Cole. We've got JK up the Cherries. We've got Daniel from the States. We might see him this evening. And anyone else currently joining us? Daniel Chase is here. Do let us know in the interactive chat. You can get involved with this tier list predictor. We're going to go through each team in the Premier League. We want to know where you think they'll finish, and we will build it together, and we'll see if we can see where these teams, and especially Bournemouth, will finish. Right, let's have a look at this tier list predictor, guys. We've done this before. Let's just drop the banner off the screen. And we have one that we're going to work through. a couple of tiers that we've got to work through for the 20 teams. You've got first place at the top for the champions, second and fourth Champions League, fifth and sixth Europa League, seventh Conference League, 8th, 14th mid-table, 15th to 17th escaping relegation, and then 18th to 20th relegated. Now, there's no easy way to ever do this, guys, is there? Giving you a team and you might not want that team and you land with it. And I thought, look, I don't want to upset anyone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it at random. I've got a pot of teams here. And if you're coming in to take part this evening, I will see you below. And once you're in there, we'll drop you in very, very shortly. But John, I'm going to come to you first. And just like they do in the Champions League when they're drawing teams, I'm going to draw the first team for you. And you've got Wolves. Where are they going?
Wolves are an interesting one because they did somewhat fall away a little bit towards the end of last season in the Prem. Started very well. They did have probably the best keeper in terms of shot stopper in the league, in Jose Sarr. But I know that a lot of people ended up finding Wolves quite boring by the end. It's difficult to know exactly what we're going to get from them. They've signed the youngster from Burnley at centre back. I think they've had a couple of other half decent signings, but I don't think they're going to be pulling up any trees. I've seen some people predict them to be quite low down, but I think they're just going to have a relatively safe season and just be mid-table. I don't see anything too special coming from Wolves this season.
They look to have frozen on the screen, John. Is that the same for you, Aaron?
Wolves, yeah.
No, has John frozen on the screen for you? I can hear John's voice, but he's frozen.
He's all right. No, he's not frozen for me.
Oh, just for me then. I could hear you, John. So
Good.
We'll put you straight in there for Wolves mid-table. I got that correct, didn't I?
Yeah.
I was going to put them there as well. So that's good to know.
Right, let's go to the next team, shall we? We're going to pick it out randomly for you, Aaron, and we're going to work through these teams. We'll get a few teams out, and hopefully some fans will join us on this Cherries Extra Time. And you've got a big team that's going to be challenging at the top, Aaron. The champions, Manchester City.
You know what? It's a couple of weeks ago, I would 100% put them at the top. I still think they're probably the team to beat. They signed Haaland, obviously, who didn't have the greatest game at Leicester. The other sounds strange saying that, Leicester in the Community Shield final. He didn't have a great game the other day, missed two absolute sitters. And, they've obviously lost Sterling. They've lost Jesus, obviously. Zinchenko's gone, but they've obviously bought in players as well. One thing that worries me about Manchester City, and this was kind of exposed against Liverpool the other day, was a lack of pace in their team. You think back to a few years ago when they had Sané on the left, Sterling on the right, and real pace in the team. Now they've obviously got exceptionally good players: Mahrez, Grealish, Foden. Unbelievable players, but none of them have blistering pace. And I think Liverpool actually exploited that somewhat by playing quite a high line against them. What I'm basically trying to say is, I having watched that game, and this isn't obviously all in that game, I'm really impressed with Liverpool, I have to say. I mean, not that we weren't last season anyway. I was a little bit worried for Liverpool losing Mane, but then, seeing Nunez, he looks a really, really good striker. In the centre, obviously, they got Diaz on the left, Salah on the right. Thiago's hopefully, will probably have a full season, and obviously still got that back four, which is settled. So I'm actually going to be, well, I don't know, it might not be controversial at all. I'm going to put Manchester City second because I just think Liverpool are going to be relentless this year. Not necessarily what I want to happen. I'm not a huge Liverpool fan, but I think Liverpool might top it. So for Manchester City, I'm going to say second, but it could go either way.
Now, whoever gets the team gets the overall decision, but there is an opportunity, guys, if you want to jump in and try and persuade that person to change their mind. John, do you want to take the opportunity? Because it's going to be very close, potentially, between Manchester City and Liverpool again.
It's a difficult one. Going off purely that game, I didn't watch the Community Shield match, but obviously I've heard that Haaland's a sitter and that Liverpool looked like the better team on average. But Haaland's going to take time to bed in. City never start well. They always improve, after, gradually improve after the first sort of couple of months. And it is going to be a change in style for Man City because they've got an actual striker on the pitch, which they didn't have last season. I'm not going to talk about Liverpool at the moment. We'll say that for when they come out of the hat. In terms of City, they have. I think they made a mistake in losing both of their supplemental goal scorers. Haaland is like the main man, but Mahrez can score, but he's more of a provider. Grealish is much more provider. De Bruyne, provider. Foden, okay, a bit more of a scorer, but like Sterling is an out-and-out goal scorer. Jesus is much more of an out-and-out goal scorer. They were the ones getting the big goals otherwise, and they've lost that. They've lost 30 goals from those two. So it's a bit of a risk, and I can see why you would put them second. Personally, I think Liverpool are more susceptible to getting injuries that sort of affect their team. So I personally have City winning, but it would be very close, and I don't have an issue with someone rating them as second place.
Yeah, it could go either way, as I've said. Yeah.
Did you want to change it or keep it then there, Aaron?
As I said, it really is a 50-50 shout. The Manchester City could completely rip it up, and they are good enough to do that without a doubt. I've just got a hunch, just for a number of reasons, that Liverpool will win the league.
City have never won 3 in a row. City have never won 3 Premier Leagues in a row. So they would be changing things up if they do that this season.
When we're talking about the sides live on YouTube right now, do let us know in the chat. So I'll put the team with a question mark and just go in the chat. Tell us where you think they'll finish in this Premier League season. I'll go for the next one. Ooh, interesting. I'm going to got Fulham, a promoted team from the Championship, won the Championship. And they are spending some money. We had a debate, didn't we, Aaron, with Fulham Focus, videos on the channel if you want to watch it. And they've come up with that Marco Silva. Can Mitrovic do well? They've lost some quality in Carvalho, but they're adding some players through money. I think they've just got Bernd Leno through the door as well as the goalkeeper. And this one is, it's difficult because I think they've got the whole yo-yo tag, haven't they? And I just wonder if they might score goals, but I think they will ship a few as well. And we might change this tier list predictor as we go through it. You know what happens as we pick up more teams. But I think, at the moment, going to put them in the relegation zone. But that could change. We might move it later on, but they're going into the relegation zone initially for me, and another yo-yo season back into the Championship, potentially. Right, we're over to John. We'll take Fulham.
It's interesting there. That Daniel's just commented that Wilson's injured. I don't know how badly that is or not, but I presume he means Harry Wilson, obviously. So that could be a blow for them.
Mark Cole's gone bottom 3. Chris Hubble, 16th, just missing out. Yeah, I'm keeping them in the bottom 3 for the moment. Right, John, you are the next team. We've had 3. Let's go with number 4, Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. And they just had a very good win in pre-season at the weekend with Gabriel Jesus picking up more than a couple of goals.
Yeah, they've looked really impressive in pre-season. They really have. And I think it's not, I'm not pushing the boat out by saying I think Gabriel Jesus is probably going to be looked at as the signing of the season, as just the player that they really missed in terms of someone that will just score probably 20 goals. If he won't score 20, he'll get at least 20 goal involvements because that team, they shift positions all the time. So he could easily end up with 10 goals, 10 assists. Even if he got 5 goals and 20 assists, it's not so reliant on him, but the fact that he will be involved and he works so well within the team. I think the Ukrainian left back central midfielder, God, why does his name escape me? Zinchenko, that was it. I knew it was a Z. I think that's a really good signing. City again, just letting a good player go. If Partey stays fit, they're in a really good shout of challenging higher up the table. I mean, they're quite far off, I think, still title challenge. But I think, especially when you look at some of the other teams around them and how much they've improved, I could see them getting a Champions League spot this season. I really could. I think they would. I think they could definitely creep above into 4th. I think Man United aren't aren't good enough yet, I don't think, to get there. Chelsea cannot sort themselves out. They're not going to be in the Champions League spots as far as I'm aware. And Spurs are very impressive, but they are also Spurs. So Arsenal are the ones that are looking more comfortable to taking that. I personally have them fourth. And I think I could see them getting above. Certainly, I see them finishing above Man United and Chelsea, and could even finish above Spurs. But that one's a tighter contest.
Welcome to everyone joining us this evening. We've also got Wayne Walden. He joined us quite a few times last season. He's a kind Fulham fan. He does get interested by the Bournemouth channel and just seeing how other teams are doing. We have put you in the bottom three at the moment, Wayne, but it's not all over. You might fall out of it later on. But thank you to the stream. Right, that's Arsenal done with. John thinks they'll get into the Champions League spots. Aaron, you're for the next team, and we're rattling through these clubs at the moment. You just had Manchester City. Now you've got Erik ten Hag's Man United, and they need a decent season. Will they keep Cristiano Ronaldo?
I was going to say, we might have to shift teams around if we have 5 teams in the Champions League spots at some stage, I guess. And we can come back to other teams, I guess. But Man United, I think, as John said, they're a bit all over the place at the moment. Obviously, a new manager. I don't know too much about him, but I don't think he can be much worse than the ones that come before him. A lot, obviously rests on Ronaldo's future. He was such a talisman for them last season. And, sorting themselves out defensively as well. I'm just not convinced by them. I don't think, I would be amazed if they don't still get a Europa spot. So I would say for now, place them in that 5th or 6th, probably 6th, I would say more likely. There's a chance that they could potentially drop down even further, sort of 7th or 8th, but I guess that depends on who we think might take their place. So maybe put them in 5th or 6th for now, and then we can potentially juggle them around.
Interestingly, John, they've still not sort of nailed the issues they're having at the back. They're buying these players. They're trying to hold out for Frankie de Jong. They tried to do that with Seb Fabregas quite a few years ago and ended up getting stung and not signing him. But they've still got a struggling Harry Maguire and your likes of Lindelof. And if you're going to ship goals or not perform against the top teams, they're going to struggle to really break into those Champions League places.
But they did pick up They have picked up Martinez. What do they call him? The Butcher of Amsterdam, which is a throwback of a nickname. I think they've brought him in. They've got Varane, who could be good. They've got Bailly, who, if he stayed fit, could be good. Lindelof, I think, gets a little bit more stick than he deserves, and Maguire gets about as much stick as I think as he probably deserves. But I agree with Aaron. It's I just don't see. I don't think they've got themselves together enough. I think Ten Hag is definitely going to improve them without a doubt, but they're not getting De Jong, and they've spent 2 months trying to get him. So they need to move on and sort their stuff out, I think.
Eriksen would be a good signing for them. Forgot about him.
Yeah, I talked about Eriksen in another video where we talked about the one Premier League player you need to watch for every team. Me and Steve did that, and I picked out Christian Eriksen for a real talent for them. I think he'll be a big player for them. Right, Man United are in there, 5th and 6th. Next team to come out the hat for me is Leicester City under Brendan Rodgers, a team that did very well a few seasons ago. They created history and madness it was that they won the Premier League, but what a year they had. Since then, they've got close to getting back in Champions League. I think they missed out one season on the last day of the season. And if I'm right, John might know this, Aaron might know this, I don't think they've signed anyone yet. John, I'm sure they haven't signed anyone yet, Leicester City.
Only team in the Prem.
Only team in the Premier League not to have signed a player.
The standing's still a bit.
I mean, I don't think they'll reach the heights that they may have done in the past in recent history. I don't think they'll get relegated. I think they will be mid-table. And I think, look, if it's not quite right with Brendan Rodgers and the boards, and maybe he'll become frustrated, maybe he'll walk away. Not quite sure. Mark Cole says 8th to 14th, and I tend to agree. So as we go back to that tier list, that's where I'm going to put Leicester City.
They're looking likely to lose Maddison by the looks of it. Newcastle really pushing for him.
They've just rejected a bid of 40 million for Maddison. Newcastle will likely come calling. That was the initial bid, wasn't it? It's never the end. It
looks like 50 million has come in now.
And Cameron Meach has also gone 8th to 14th. Lovely stadium though. Good day out. We got a good point on 2016 to finish 9th. And Leicester City will be a good day out for the AFC Bournemouth fans, but they will not be up the top. They will be in the mid-table. John, back round to you, as we're predicting this year's Premier League that AFC Bournemouth are going to be part of. And I'm like Christian Carambeau here in the Champions League as I open the next team. Oh, Frank Lampard's Everton. And he's just bought Dwight McNeil.
Yeah, he's tried to solve his problems at the back and up front by signing 2 players that got relegated. So it's not the most sustainable tactic, if I'm honest. But I do think Tarkowski is a good signing. I do think he's a decent centre back. And McNeil's an interesting one. Obviously, a throwback winger. Really, he's a left mid that plays on the left foot and wants to get crosses in the box. Which is nice, but you need a striker to get on the end of those crosses. Thankfully, they have one in Dominic Calvert-Lewin. The only issue is if he stays fit, because they've lost Richarlison, and they've got quite an aging midfield. They do have they do have a few shining spots in terms of Anthony Gordon and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, as I said. I just think Lampard's a terrible manager. He's just never proven himself to be able to really take any club anywhere. People go back to his Derby days, and they finished 6th the season before he joined. He got them to 6th, and he had a load of great Chelsea youngsters in that team. So, he joined Everton when they were 17th or 16th, and they finished in basically the same spot. He kind of just builds on vibes. He's all about the vibes. If he can maintain everyone being happy, I think they could be all right. But I just don't rate their chances very much at all. I have genuinely been considering them highly for relegation. The only thing is that I think Lampard will get sacked and they'll get a decent manager in, and they'll survive. And I really think that's the only way it will happen. After he'll get maybe 1 win in 11 or 12, they'll sack him, and someone else will come in and save them. I don't see them getting anywhere near close to mid-table. I think they'll just about stay up, because there are other teams that I would say probably a bit worse than them.
Cameron's agreeing with you there, John. You did just say 15th to 17th, didn't you?
I did.
Aaron, Mark Cole says, Everton will just stay up. Could this be a 1-game shootout between them and AFC Bournemouth? But like John says, if it is, it's unlikely to be Frank Lampard, the manager, on that day, on the last game of the season in May.
Yeah, I mean, if we're still in with a chance the last day of the season, I'll snap your hand off. I'm like John, actually. I kind of did tip Everton for the bottom 3. But I guess you can't legislate for change of managers potentially, and what could happen. They are a massive club. Their home record, they will always still be difficult to beat at Goodison Park, but they are severely weakened. They've got a soft underbelly, and I just don't think they're very good. So, on the balance, maybe just staying up is about right for them.
Okay, the next team in the list, coming out the pot, we play them in the opening game of the season. We've got a match preview coming live for you on Thursday. More of that later on. Aston Villa, just like in 2015, opening day, Dean Court under Steven Gerrard, Aaron, and he is going to want to do something decent this season. Aston Villa for you.
Yeah, he might be under a bit of pressure. I think he came with an expectation. I think Villa quite an exciting team to watch. They quite a lot of games last season. They were really free flowing. Some good football. Coutinho was obviously at the heart of a lot of that. They got strikers obviously in Watkins and the like that can score goals, and Samuel, and they've got some really good players. Maybe slightly again suspect at the back. I know Tyrone Mings has had the captaincy taken off of him, so maybe concentrate more on his defending. But I think Villa will be absolutely fine. I don't think they'll be pushing for Europe, but I think I would have them in that comfortable mid-table. For me, they won't be dragged down into it. I think they'll have kind of highs and lows throughout the season. They'll have poor performances, but they'll have enough about them. Hopefully not on the first day of the season, but I think in that 8th to 14th It could be anywhere between 8th and 14th, but probably nearer the lower half of that. Probably bang mid-table for me.
Thinking about Saturday, John, as I show some predictions on the screen in a moment. That 2015, what a great day that was. Look, didn't get the result. I thought we played okay on the day, but we lost 1-0 to a Gested goal. Saturday will potentially be filled with nervousness and not excitement with what we're currently doing in the transfer business, or lack of what we're doing at the back. And look, I'm sure there will be excitement, but we need to potentially get something from Saturday, because we know there's some tough games straight after that.
Yeah, I think I'd snap your hand off for a draw first game of the season, personally, just to get something on the board, because you know how difficult it's going to be in the following 3 games. And as much as we understand that you've got an incredible City team, an incredible Liverpool team, and a really promising, very talented Arsenal team coming up in the 3 games after that, none of us are expecting to get anything from those games. You still don't want to be on 0 points after 4 games. Like, a lot of people are probably expecting it, but you just don't want that to be the case, even if you know that there are circumstances around it. So I would still happily take a point against Villa. And yeah, it's an interesting contrast between the game that's coming up this weekend and the one we played last time round in 2015, because there was such a different vibe around the club. Obviously different manager, but I think if we'd gone into pre-season playing the same setup, playing the same set of same formation, same 4-3-3, and started the game with our strongest team from last season, if we brought Matt Phillips in, or maybe Matt Phillips was the one change and you put Mepham there instead, I think that a lot of the fans would be a little bit more optimistic, because they knew what was going to happen. It's what happened under Eddie in that first season. The exact same team, apart from King in for Kermigan, which kind of worked out in the end. I think was a bit harsh on Jan at the time, but you knew exactly what was going to happen. We played the exact same game we'd played the previous 3 or 4 years. This time around, Parker, I think, with the right idea in trying to be more difficult to beat and trying to be more of a counter-attacking team, we're just a lot. You know, there's a different feeling. It's not quite got the same positivity, and 1 or 2 players, just literally 1 or 2 players in, even if one of them was a goalkeeper and one of them was a centre back, a couple of players would completely change the atmosphere going into that game. If we sign, if Phillips comes back in and he stops straight into the side, I think there's quite a different atmosphere around the game. Just signings can change things quite comfortably.
Yeah.
So we are on this Cherries Extra Time, and we are doing a table predictor for the Premier League. We're predicting what the table might look like come May, but it's also an opportunity tonight, if you want to come on and talk about anything Bournemouth related in pre-season, when the team went to Portugal, signing Tavernier, defenders we might buy, pop on tonight. There is a link in the description. I've also just put it in the chat. Allow your camera and mic, enter your name, pop in, tell us anything you want to talk about for 5 minutes. We'll also give you an opportunity to help the guys choose one of these teams as we rattle through them. And we will add someone else to this stream. He's part of the Cherries Red Army team. He just done a video of me about one player to watch for every Premier League team. And Steve, he's here. He's had a busy day, but he's joining us. And
Hi.
How are you doing, Steve?
I'm all right. What's happened to John?
Oh, no. He's okay on YouTube, I think.
He looks fine to me. I don't know what you
He's absolutely fine. Steve, let's bring you up to speed, because I know you were keen to get on this evening. We're starting this tier list predictor. We're working ourselves through it, and we've currently got Manchester City in the Champions League places with Arsenal. Man United are going to be 5th or 6th. We've got Wolves, Leicester and Villa mid-table. Everton are just missing out, being relegated, and Fulham are currently in the bottom 3. That's where we're at. Any comments on those current positions before I give you the next team?
I think United might struggle a bit more than people think this season. Just looking at this briefly, I also think Fulham have made some nice little signings, actually. I didn't realise how many they'd made, but I'd just been watching Sky Sports News and seen the ins and outs that they've had come through the door, and they've done a bit of business, actually. So they could be ones to watch, actually. They could have a bit of a better season than we think.
Silva was moaning yesterday that they're not prepared and he's only got 16.
Well, it was still about double the amount of players we've signed.
Yeah. Steve, you know it could all change. We've done these tier list predictors before.
Yeah.
Fulham might end outside the bottom three come, 20 minutes time, 30 minutes time. But we're going to bring the next team, and you're the next person into this stream, so you're going to get the next team. We're doing it randomly, just like they do in the Champions League. So I'm going to unravel the next team.
Have you got a little pot of balls there?
Well, I was going to give you the next team, but I'm going to give this one to everyone. The next team
here we go.
In the Premier League is your very own AFC Bournemouth, and we will start with Steve. Marcus Tavernier has signed for AFC Bournemouth today, Steve. He's going to add 20 goals and 15 assists. And we are going to go round everyone on this one, but where are you currently sitting with AFC Bournemouth, or where do you think they will finish this season?
Right. Okay. So this is a bit of a difficult one because I have seen quite a lot of pre-season and it's, in my opinion, it's not looking good. However, there's not a lot you don't want to read too much into pre-season because there is a lot of thought process behind the fact that it's just getting the players up to speed, getting the game time. But there's been some funny goings on of late. Scott Parker coming out and saying some strange things, which doesn't fill me with confidence. And I can't say that I really think, obviously look at our signings, they haven't really propelled us any further than what we really already had. In fact, as Scott Parker's already alluded to, we're actually weaker on paper than we were. So it doesn't look great. However, there has been glimmers. There has been glimmers of good play. The Stanislas goal I thought was quite a nice little goal on the weekend, and I thought, I know we lost against Bristol, but I think it is a championship opposition, but we played well. It was only for a minor lapse by our man Mepham. That cost us a game, and where have we seen that before? But I'm not going to get overexcited just yet, but I'm going to go for. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to say we're going to get relegated. Unfortunately,
as it stands at the moment, that's absolutely fair. Right, I'm going to give my opinion. I'm probably not going to take too long. Look, we've seen everyone talking about it, even the journalists covering The Athletic and Dorset Live. Scott Parker planned to go this route, although we didn't really do it last season. He always said we're going to play three at the back, maybe because we're going to have less ball. I'm just not sure about it. Look, I think we tried to play in a certain season under Eddie Howe where we tried to be a bit structured and we tried to not concede as many goals because we wanted to try and prove that we could stop teams scoring. The problem is it didn't work out very well. My opinion is I know that Scott Parker wants to come across that he's a tactical manager. Maybe he's looking at his future, not with Bournemouth in 10 years' time, and he doesn't want to ruin that, shipping 10 goals every 3 games or whatever. But the way we currently are, I'm sure we'll add defenders. I'm convinced of that. We will add defenders, maybe very soon. Before Saturday, maybe not. But I think we need to set up in a way that suits Bournemouth. When have we ever played well with a back three? I can't remember us ever really playing well in a spell for a back three, maybe for one game. But I think we need to go with a back four. I think we need more offensive players out there. Now, if Scott Parker says, and he won't say, but if he was to come out and say, I'm going to play a back three that's going to turn into a back five to consolidate the top 6 teams and keep the score down for goal difference, I'll say fair enough. But let's go and play the other teams and have a go and have a bit of heart. Because guys, that we always try and defy the odds. Give that team a chance to defy the odds and we might finish 17th. As it currently stands, I know I said in the debate show last week that we're going to stay up. If we do business, we might have half a chance. Someone just said that in the chat. Someone said if we sign some defenders, 17th. If we don't, 18th. And Wing says, hoping 17th, I'll snatch your arm off for that. I've got to put us in the relegation zone at the minute. But if we were to do this maybe in 10 days' time, I might be putting the 17th. I said it was going to be.
I think the system's more of a problem than the signings, personally. I think that going 5 at the back leaves us light in midfield, and I think that's proven to be the case when we've leaked goals in the warm-up games.
Right, need some positivity now, John and Aaron, because we are a channel that tries to.
I just come in and really downed it then, didn't I?
I'm all for John. It's over to you. I had my turn. I had my stint. I always said, John, let's get relegated having a go at it. Let's not get relegated on a whim and losing 1-0, not creating chances.
Yeah, I think I was thinking of, putting out something about reasons for us to be positive. And one of the main ones that I'd come back to is looking at our record against the top teams in the Championship, which admittedly we were playing in a different formation than it looks like we're planning to this time around. But we had comfortably the best record against the top 6, against the top 10 last season. It was the weaker teams that we struggled against, the teams that sat back and tried and that asked us to break them down. Those were the teams that we struggled against. The teams that actually tried to fight, come at us and, and left themselves slightly more open. Those were the teams that we were able to break apart. The unfortunate counter to that is that Bournemouth last season made no attempt to counterattack. Our goals that came quickly were the ones where we won the ball very high up the pitch. And that's something that we will continue to do this season. The one preseason match I've seen so far is the one against Real Sociedad. And we pressed really well for long periods in that one. It was a terrible first 10 minutes. Ignore that. Afterwards, we pressed really well high up. And there were a couple of really good chances that we were creating. And that, as much as it was a preseason friendly, that is a European level team. So, we didn't disgrace ourselves by any means. The goals that we conceded, the Mepham penalty, the first goal against Real Sociedad, came from similar aspects where it was sort of inside the right centre-back or in the space between the right wing-back and right centre-back. That can be worked upon. Spacing was incorrect, I think, against... I don't know the full build-up to the Bristol City goal, but the one against Real Sociedad, I think Adam Smith was partly to blame on that one, along with James Hill. I think their spacing was wrong, which is something you work on. So, or Mepham would have been on the right-hand side. No, it wasn't. Yeah. So, look, I totally get the negativity about the back three. Our entire fan base is fed up with back threes purely based on Jason Tindall. So please don't take that as your stance that if it's anything like Jason Tindall, that's exactly what our season's going to be, because it's not. At least I hope not. But I unfortunately have to agree with Kirk and Steve at the moment. We need signings in the door. I still rate Mepham to a degree, and I think James Hill is promising, but you can't go into a season playing with a back three and having 3 centre backs. You just can't. You can't get anywhere with that. One injury and you're pretty screwed. So you need quality, you need depth, and at the moment we kind of have that in the wrong areas. So we need more. We need more from the people that are looking to sign players. And I'm waiting for deadline day basically at this point, because that's what it looks like it's going to be, which is not great. I think I'd much rather have players spend a couple of extra million and get the players in the door early, get them into the team, get them used to the system, get them used to the manager, to the players. Bringing them in on deadline day means you've lost 5 or 6 games, and then you've got to take another couple of games to get them used to it. It's just I don't know. It's not how I prefer the club to do things. So maybe at the end of the window I'll be a lot more positive, but right now I've got us rock bottom, to be honest, at the moment.
We're all wrong, Aaron. Come on, we're all wrong. Tell us we'll finish 17th, please.
I haven't seen much of pre-season. I don't do pre-season friendlies. Never have. Just don't like it for all sorts of reasons. And Steve's obviously seen a lot of it of the action. I mean, for my view, I've never been a fan of a back three for Bournemouth, especially. Interestingly, I saw Ahmed Shubal, obviously, who's great analyst, come out not in favour of the back three, but basically saying the reason it's a back three is because, in his opinion, if Bournemouth try to play with a back four with the defenders they've got, they'll get annihilated. That was his reasoning for what Scott's doing. I think he hit the nail on the head that with the defenders we've got. Now, I'm convinced, and you have to be convinced, that we'll be signing at least one, if not 2 centre-backs in the next few days or a couple of weeks, let's say. Looks like for all intents and purposes, Nat Phillips has reignited, whether it ever really went completely off or not. We've got friends up north, and it's all over the Liverpool Echo. It's obviously on Dorset Live tonight. That it's no surprise that for whatever reason we might come back in for him. There's others we've been linked with. Obviously, John spoke about them in his stats show. So I'm convinced we will get centre backs in. And I think, as Steve said earlier, or John I think said earlier, a couple of centre backs, then I'll start feeling a bit more positive, because at the end of the day, going forward, we have pretty much strengthened going forward, I guess. We've obviously still got Dom and Kiefer Moore, who's pretty much like a new signing, let's be honest. And he might not be a top Premier League striker, but I still think he's going to be a massive handful and is a clever player and can be a really big use this season. Ryan Christie, Jaden Anthony, a fit Junior Stanislas, and everyone will laugh and say, how long is he going to stay fit? You can't legislate for that. If he stays fit, he's a hell of a player, and I think he'll start for me. Dembele could flourish more in the Premier League than he did in the Championship with a bit more time. We know how good Rothwell can be. Tavernier obviously has added to Phil Billing, etc. So Jeff's still here. Got Pearson as well. Lewis Cook was coming into brilliant form. So
team.
No, but what I'm saying is it's not all doom and gloom. For me at the moment, we are woefully short at the back. We're playing a player who's just about good enough for League One, and a player who, yes, Mepham is a Welsh international, but has got mistakes in him, and we know that. If we sign a couple of centre halves, I'll feel very, very differently about it. And going back to what Steve said, for me, the biggest thing about this 5-2-3 formation is 2 in midfield. Most Premier League teams play 3 in midfield, and we're going to get overrun every single week. It's not rocket science, but I'm sure Scott's not cutting his nose off to spite his face. He must have reasons for that. If we're going to play, if he insists on playing 5 at the back, then play 5-3-2. Either more up with Dom or someone behind Dom. Put that 3 in midfield. We've seen it time and time again. You have to have 3 in midfield in the Premier League. You can get completely overrun. So, as in conclusion, right as of now, I'm sure we'll be in the bottom 3, but I'm still convinced we will sign those players and just about escape. Because I just think we're Bournemouth and we seem to do it, and other teams aren't as glorious as us, and we'll just manage to stay up.
Right. We are in the bottom 3 at the moment. Look, we are a Bournemouth channel. We do think we can do it. Of course we do. But we have to be a little bit real sometimes. And as I said, if we were doing this in 10 days' time, we might be 17th. But it might still change before the end of this tier list because other teams are coming and we might work our way out of it. But that's currently where we're at. Let's rattle through some teams. Steve, back to you. And let's see if we can get some extra teams in there and get through this tier list if we can. Patrick Vieira's Crystal Palace. Where do you think they'll finish this season?
I got a sneaky suspicion Palace are going to have another good season under Patrick Vieira. He's quietly going about his business very astutely, I think. And obviously he's got the players right. The players are playing. It's a bit of a big loss that Gallagher's gone back to Chelsea because he was a big player for them last season. But they've got some emerging sort of talent defensively with. I can never pronounce his name. Is it Kaye? Donald, help me. Kaye. Yeah, he looks a good. I mean, talk about centre backs. He looks like a decent prospect, a future England centre back maybe. They got a fullback as well who's quite up and coming. They got some good talent in that squad, and obviously they got a game changer in Zaha. And whatever you think of Zaha, whether you think he's a pain in the arse or moody, throws his toys out the pram, throws himself on the floor every 5 minutes. He does win games for them. So I think they've surprised people actually this season. It seems to be all going in the right direction for Palace. So what are the categories? Because I've come in late. Where are we looking?
You got 2nd to 4th, 5th to 6th, 7th, and then 8th to 14th or 15th to 17th.
I'm going to go for the 8th to 14th. I think they're going to be the top end of that.
Okay, fantastic.
Well, it looks like. Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Right, I got the next one. Let's take Crystal Palace off the banner. And I have got Brentford. Oh, second-year syndrome. And they've lost Christian Eriksen, signed a few players. Steve likes Norgard. We talked about that recently. Just don't know what's going to happen. They've got a lovely stadium. I'm looking forward to going to that one. Oh, Brentford. Because they could be right down there, I'm going to put them. Okay, because of how it's looking at the bottom at the moment, I'm going to put them 15th to 17th. I don't think they'll have a blistering season. They finished 13th last season. They'll be in there with Everton. Might just miss out on being relegated, but I could also see them being relegated. And I think if we'd maybe done a little bit more transfer business up to this point, I would have put them in the relegation zone. But I think
they've got a bit of the same problem as us.
I still would put them in the relegation zone personally.
Yeah,
I'm challenging you.
But right, they got a similar problem. If Tony gets injured, where the goals coming from for there?
Yeah,
that's the worry for Brentford. If they suffer a couple of injuries, they're in trouble, I think.
Well, they've sold a good. They've sold, or they're about. No, they already have. I think they've sold Marcus Fors, who's a good.
He's
good
gone Championship, hasn't he?
He's gone to Middlesbrough for 3 million, which is dirt cheap. They brought in Keane Lewis Potter, who was very good the whole last season, but how good is he necessarily going to be coming into Brentford? And Christian Eriksen's loss is you
huge.
Cannot really quite understand how important that is. They would have gone down if they didn't bring in Everton last season. There's like all the stats just had them just on a nosedive, and as soon as he came in, they shot back up again. Losing him is massive, and they're a coin flip on going down.
Also, the other thing I'll say about Brentford, if they lose either of their centre backs as well, I think that's a massive problem for them, because those two are key. Is it Pinnock and
we might come back to that in a moment. We might come back to that at the end. Let's see what happens. Right, where are we, John? Not much going on at the top of the table at the moment. Let's see, because another team coming out, and these could be in the mix down the bottom. Leeds United.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, because I think similarly to Lampard, it's how quickly they get rid of Marsh as to whether they stay up or not. Because he's okay. I think he's all right. But, losing Bielsa, losing Phillips, and losing Rafinha, I don't care how well you think you've spent your money. That's a hell of a loss. That's literally a manager that's just been your saviour and your two best players. That's the equivalent as if an hour after our first season, Howe had left, Wilson had left, and I don't know, actually, who would be the next one? Richie? Richie did leave. But still, it's basically their two best players have gone. And you just because you're replacing them with players that Marsh knows, that doesn't mean that I think they're definitely going to do any better. I think it's personally it may well be between them and Brentford as who goes down. And I think at the moment I favour Leeds to finish below the relegation line. I have them in the bottom three.
I'm so glad
they've spent a lot of money. They have well over 100 million.
And I'm glad you said that. I got nothing against Leeds, but I think they're going down. Steve knows this. I think they're going down.
They're all Leipzig players as well, aren't they? They bought
all Salzburg. They're all Red Bull.
Red Bull. Yeah, all Red Bull players.
He's a Red Bull manager.
Yeah.
Just one actual observation before you come to me, Kirk. With it is another thing going back to us. One positive, if we can try and get some positives here, is that we haven't signed anyone particularly yet of note, and we want more signings. But unlike Brentford, unlike Everton, unlike Leeds, we haven't lost two or three of our best players. Dom hasn't gone, Lerma hasn't gone. So obviously Nat Phillips has gone, theoretically from our strongest team last season. But let's assume he comes back. We haven't lost any one of those. And the likes, as I said, Everton, Leeds, Brentford have all lost probably their best players from last season. So that's one positive, maybe.
Chris also thinks they'll finish 20th, John. Erin, you're up for the next team in this Premier League tier list predictor. This is how we think it's going to go in May. And the next team is Brighton and Hove Albion for you, Erin.
Pretty straightforward for me. I think Brighton have quite, solidified their place in the Premier League. I do rate Potter highly. Looks like they're obviously going to lose Cucurella to Man City, or Chelsea have come in for a bid from him apparently right at the last minute. They've lost Basuma, but they did sign a couple, and I'm not even going to begin to name them, but they did sign a couple of players last season who actually played towards the end of last season who are really good and can replace Basuma as well. I don't think there'll be in any trouble at all. I don't think they'll be pushing Europa. I'd put them in the 8th to 14th category and could be anywhere between that. But yeah, I think they'll be absolutely fine.
Straight in there. Any comments coming through for Brighton? John, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, just as I was listening to a podcast earlier today, Brighton have got a really sensible method in terms of sustainability. They sell one star player every year. Basuma's gone, and they made a lot of money off him. They'll keep Cucurella. Cucurella doesn't want it. They've sold one good player. That's it. That's all they're going to do. They'll keep Cucurella until at least January and just work on exactly what they had before, just gradually improving. And I also rate Potter quite highly as well. So, yeah, they're comfortably at mid-table.
and Steve likes Trossard. So they might do okay
like
this
Trossard.
season. Steve, you're up next. Joining us on this live stream this evening. You've got Eddie Howe's Newcastle United and buckets of money. What can they do this season?
Well, yeah, massive question, isn't it? Where is their ceiling this season? It's one of those. It could be anything. The trajectory since Eddie's gone in is, it's only been one way, hasn't it? It's been one directional, and they've just been on an upward spiral. And I've actually quite enjoyed watching them play. I've even started listening to Newcastle podcasts. I know, and I have, and I'm really liking some of the players he's getting in. I really like that Guimaraes, as we spoke about the other day. I think he's a very, very good player, very classy player. Who was the one they're putting a big money bid in for Maddison as well? Mm-hmm. I hear Leeds are sort of trying to fight them off for. But Leicester. So that's a bit of a statement of intent, because he ended the season quite well last season, I thought, Maddison. Wilson's already bagged a couple of goals pre-season, so he looks like he's up for it again.
Some of the fans in the chat, Steve, think that he'll get Conference League 7th this season.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy to agree with that, because I think they are a little bit unknown, but it's Eddie, isn't it? So you know what he brings, and we know what he can. The miracles he can perform, and I wouldn't put it past him personally. So I'm happy to go with that Europa Conference League. I think it's achievable for them.
Yeah, interesting. Hopefully it goes to plan. We wish Eddie
John's not so sure.
I'm not so sure about that.
The reason I think it is because I think, as I said, with the likes of Leicester aren't as strong as they were last year. I don't think West Ham will be as good. Villa. So who else is going to be pushing them for it? And I really think they can get it.
I think it'd be West Ham.
Well,
personally,
possibly.
Well, the second half of the season they were third in the form table.
Yeah, no, they were incredible. I just think Eddie will Eddie, and will also go through a consistent bad patch around January, February. So Newcastle are very impressive, but they haven't gone mental at all this window. They brought in sensible. They haven't gone back. They haven't gone. I'm not going to actually won't say that on. They haven't gone mental. They brought in really sensible, and I just think it's just constant progression. I think they could finish 8th. I think probably more like 8th, 9th. But they definitely could finish higher there. Also, if anyone talking about that Maddison trailer, if anyone knows the impressionist Daniel Farley, did a really look up the sketch that he does doing Brendan Rodgers' impression, phoning up Eddie Howe after the James Maddison offer. I could see them finishing 7th, but personally, I don't think they'll quite reach that high. Not this season, anyway. This will be the last season they get without Europe, I reckon.
Well, it's not a Newcastle channel, although Steve's listening to a few Newcastle podcasts. Aaron, I wonder when West Ham comes out, and whether it lands on John and he gets his way at Conference League, whether we can somehow have a virtual arm wrestle to decide it. Don't know how, but maybe we'll have to find a way. Right, it's my turn. And we are going through this as we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams left. Who will I get next in this predictor? Whoa! West Ham United at the Olympic Stadium under David Moyes. I think they did all right last season. I'm not a great David Moyes fan. I thought he did all right. Everton, to be fair, actually. What did they nearly get Champions League at one point? Yeah, didn't have a great stint at Man United. Wasn't given a chance, so to be fair. He's all right. I mean, it's going to depend on whether Scamacca can hit the ground running, because, look, they spent big money on Haller and that didn't work out, and they do rely on Antonio a lot. They got Bowen, who's a very, very good finisher, very good player off the wing. Can they stop goals going in the back of the net? Because West Ham are a bit weird, guys. They'll lose games you think they're going to get wins from, and then they'll go and beat teams that are potentially in the top 6, and that's the reason why they don't get into Europa League or don't get into Champions League. Actually, I can't remember where they finished last season, but it's right up there. Conference. So I am going to edge for them to just miss out, because I'd like Eddie to do well, and I don't want him to get sacked at Newcastle, although I hope we beat Newcastle twice next season. So there's not going to be an arm wrestle this evening between John and Steve, but John does think they'll finish in the Conference League. But I've gone
Just
for
to
West
say,
Ham to
they
finish
got to the semi-finals of the Europa League last season. They still made Europe. So
to be fair, it is kind of a flip of a coin.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a flip of a coin one. I could see either or getting in that spot.
Yeah.
And sorry, guys, I didn't put West Ham on the screen on the banner, but if you do tell me your West Ham position, I'll put it up in just a moment. Back to you, John. Getting through the teams now, we'll see how this Premier League table is going to look. And you have got a team that's spending a lot of money. I think they may have bought their 13th player today or 12th.
I'm glad it's you, John.
Forest.
Glad it's not me.
Yeah, Forest are... I don't know if anyone's kept an eye still on the Championship, but Hull have been the team that no one knows where to put this season because of what the business that they've done. And Forest are just, when they started getting their signings in, I saw how sensible they were and just consistently replacing players they lost out on. They brought in O'Brien for Ghana. They brought in Richards for Lowe at left wing back, and then they brought in another left wing back. I can't remember who it is. They brought in two of them. They brought in Nico Williams.
Didn't they?
Toffolo, that was it. Why weren't we in for Toffolo? We brought in what was it to replace it right wing back? They brought in Nico Williams. Although it was interesting, the Fulham guy on the debate last on that video was very meh about Nico Williams, which was an interesting one. So I'm waiting to see how that one turns out for Forest. But Awunyi from Union Berlin, I think, is an incredible bit of business to bring him in for, what was it, 13 million? Just not a lot for a very good striker. Jesse Lingard, I think there's been way too much made about that. He's literally getting paid the same amount as Dean Henderson. No one said anything about Dean Henderson when he was brought in from Man United. So it's just the internet, isn't it? Just Twitter being Twitter. So look, the thing is, if you bring that many players, there's always the talk about how you're going to make them gel. Are you going to get them working into the system that made them so successful last year? And Nottingham Forest did do amazingly, but they overperformed. They were great, but they still overperformed what you would have expected from them in that period. So I have ummed and ahed over whether I think they will go down or not, because of how much do I think that will fall flat? How successful do I think they would be? They literally could finish anywhere from 10th to 19th. I really do think they could finish anywhere based on how well they've done. However, I do rate Steve Cooper very highly. And I think that's the tipping point. And I think that if you've got someone that is able to gel, is able to get the best out of these players, then they really could be quite comfortable this season.
Yeah, I totally agree with what John's just said there.
They've just signed Aaron Ramsey, by the way. They've just signed Aaron Ramsey.
No.
Yeah, just signed him.
Oh my God!
Have you just broke Nottingham Forest news on an AFC Bournemouth fan channel?
Well, you can thank
you
JK
really
for
just
that
done that.
Whatever. He'll
after his contract. I don't know if it's definitely come through. It looks like he's been strongly linked by the looks. It looks like it could.
If he comes in, he'll barely play.
It's great to know that Aaron's so focused on this stream this evening.
Their wage bill is going to be ridiculous.
Aaron,
yeah,
I'll revert. It's not a done deal. He's been very, very strongly linked after having his contract terminated at Juventus.
I'm still finding you.
It was isn't it? Oh no, he was on loan at Rangers last season, wasn't he? Which he did brilliantly over there, didn't he?
No.
So,
John,
yeah, exactly.
Back in the ring.
I'm putting it out at 8th to 14th. I think they won't even be close to relegation.
Ooh.
I think they will hit 13th to 14th.
Okay.
I think it all depends on how Cooper gets these players playing, because someone like Lingard, who's been at Man United for so long, and then he's just gone for the money. Is he going to be up for it in a Forest shirt?
He'll replace Sinkernagel in that number 10 spot.
Yeah, but will he?
I think that's perfect for him. I don't disagree. But if he's not up for it, it's up to Cooper to get him up for it. He's fighting for an England spot. He could. I don't.
No,
think
he's
he really
not.
Cares too much
John,
about Forest.
he's not.
He's personally. He in his head, he is thinking he could still get into the England squad. That's what he's going there for, because he knows he's going to play. So I think he's motivated enough.
If that's his motivation, then it's Forest are going to reap the benefits, because
I have learned something new tonight.
he's certainly not. I can't see him being like really up for playing for Forest in a relegation battle. That's what I couldn't get my head round. Yeah. Okay.
What I have learned tonight is how boring it is talking about Nottingham Forest. That they are not apparently getting relegated. Right.
No, that's just my voice.
Well, at least they've got some signings to talk about.
We'll talk about one at the end, shall we? Let's get this table predictor done, and then we'll close out with a little, appreciation message for Marcus Tavernier, or welcome. Right, who am I up to? Aaron, you got Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea. He signed Raheem Sterling. Koulibaly at the back, maybe needs another striker. Where will they finish this season?
I mean, John mentioned before that they're a bit kind of all over the shop to some degree, but for me, it was either them or Arsenal getting that fourth spot, because I can't see anyone else getting it. We've already spoken about Arsenal at length, so it's. I mean, they have made some good signings. I still think they're going to be strong. I still think Tuchel's a good manager. They've still got a very strong squad. So defensively, obviously, they've lost Rudiger and Christensen, are two big players for them. But they're still going to be there or thereabouts. I think not challenging for the title at all, but certainly in that race for the Champions League spot. So on the basis that we put Arsenal at fourth, and I'd like to see Arsenal in fourth, I'll go for Chelsea in that fifth spot. But again, it could be a toss of a coin, really, because you just never know with Arsenal.
Okay. Chelsea are in fifth, and I'll just get.
Didn't Arsenal beat them 4-0?
Yeah, something like that, isn't it? Yeah.
Well,
pre-season doesn't matter, apparently.
Chelsea lost 4-0 to Minnesota United. Didn't we beat them in pre-season 6 years ago? Is that
the one where the goalkeeper threw it in his own net?
I'm pretty sure that was the goalie threw in his own net.
And that was it's not Everton that lost to them. I thought it was Everton, but
Chelsea lost to a MLS side. So did Everton. They both lost to an MLS side.
Right. 3 teams to go. Steve, is it you next?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
You next. You have got Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool with a new striker, and they just won the Community Shield. Can they win back their Premier League title?
Yes, move on.
Is it good we're playing them early on?
It doesn't matter. We're going to get smashed by them either way. But yes, I suppose you could put the element of, they might underestimate us, I guess. But I doubt it very much. It's not. I don't think it really matters. It gets it out of the way for us. They just. I mean, I watched that charity shield. I can still call it charity shield. So,
you know what you mean.
Community shield. I wasn't too sure about this Nunes they brought in, because when I was in Portugal, I was speaking to a taxi driver who said he just had one good season, and he wasn't convinced by him. And I sort of said, well, we'll see how it goes. And then all of a sudden he scored 4. Was it 4 he scored against somebody the other week? And then he's popping up with a goal in the Community Shield. They don't seem to be missing Mane. Let's put it that way. Yeah. I can't see. I think they've got their transitional play. I mean, it's so quick and rapid and just such top quality. I mean, they're doing that against Man City, and I just think they've got a little bit too much for Man City this season. I think letting Sterling go, Man City letting Sterling go was big, and Jesus for that matter. And I just see them pipping them. It will be close. It will be close, no doubt. I just see them pipping them. Probably a roles reversed of last season. Right,
Liverpool to win the league, according to Steve and quite a few of you in the chat. Look, 2 teams left. I'm going to sit out. I'm going to let John and Aaron bring it home. John, you've got that lot up the road, Southampton.
Oh, you've just dodged that, Kirk, haven't you?
I have. Because I know where I put them.
And that team is the reason why I felt as though Nottingham Forest would not go into that 15th to 17th spot. I think Southampton again will be close, and I think I've seen some talk about them being decent candidates for relegation. It's going to be interesting. I think they've made some decent signings. I think Joe Aribo, obviously, his goal went around the internet, which was against Villarreal, in pre-season, which was quite impressive. I do think that is a good signing. We've got Bazunu, who's one of the other wonder kid Irish stoppers they brought in from Man City, who who was very impressive at Portsmouth, but it is a bit of a jump going from League One to the Premier League. Admittedly, Aaron Ramsdale did it, so you never know. But it's the manager again. Like he just seems to very just like Bournemouth. They will go through one massive chunk where they play horribly. More often than not, it's right at the end of the season. I think they got 7 points from their last 18 games or something stupid like that, where they just completely fell off a cliff as soon as they were anywhere near safe. And if they don't play well enough towards the start of the season, then that will bite you in the backside later on. So I don't know. I don't think they'll quite go down, but I do see them being, not too far away from finishing in the bottom three, but not quite, not yet at the moment anyway.
Southampton just about staying up, according to John.
Is anyone sniffing around Ward-Prowse? Do we know?
Well, they were at the start of the transfer window,
because I think
Southampton released a video with him in the new shirt, and I think that was like their sign to say hands off. But I think, although Southampton do cash in, Steve, on players, I think this is one they just won't.
Forest have just signed Ward-Prowse.
Right, that's them. They're going down.
It's one of them, Steve. I think we spoke about it recently on another. Yeah. He's going to go down as a Matt Letizia. He might. He will do. Top hero to them, but he's going to look back thinking, "I won nothing."
And basically,
he wasn't in the promotion team, was he?
No, he wasn't. No. He would have been coming through the youth system at the time, I would presume. But he is absolutely fundamental to them. I mean, he must have got half their points last season on his own. I mean, the guy's
just from his free kicks.
Yeah, the guy's knocking on the door of Beckham's record, isn't he? And that's no mean feat in itself. I mean, yeah, he is a creative player. I mean, if they were to lose him, I'd be really scared for him. But if they've got him, I think, like John said, they'll be okay. Just about. They've made a few decent signings.
One team to go, and that will be for Aaron, and that is Antonio Conte's, just to make sure it's all legitimate, the last team out the hat, and that is Tottenham Hotspurs. And you think, or how it's planned out, Aaron, they should end up in the Champions League spots.
Yeah, third for Spurs. I'll be surprised if they don't get third spot. The whole season of Conte, they bought quite well. Kane and Son, obviously. Well. Yeah, I mean, keep Kane and Son fit obviously is key, but assuming they do, then I'm pretty sure they'll get third. There's been rumours of them challenging for the title. I think they'll be a bit short for that, if I'm being honest, but I'll be amazed if they don't finish third.
Yeah. Anyone else want to comment on Spurs at all? But it's a big season for
I think
them.
That's fair.
Harry Kane will bag a lot of goals, I think, this season, leading into the World Cup and maybe a move next season.
Yeah, third. I think most people have probably got them third. They've brought really well. They've got a very, very good manager. Just can't see them not finishing in the Champions League spots, to be honest.
There we go.
I think they finally got in Romero a decent centre-back to replace the likes of Alderweireld and Vertonghen they had before, because they were a bit soft for a little while. And Kulusevski I think he's a great player. He's really, really added another dimension to their play. So, yeah, happy with that.
Okay, let's look at that table predictor that we've done for the Premier League 22-23 season. Let's enhance it on the screen. Liverpool to win the league. Man City, Spurs and Arsenal for Champions League. Man United and Chelsea 5th and 6th. Eddie's going to bring Newcastle home in the Conference 7th. Wolves, Leicester, Villa, Palace, Brighton, West Ham and Nottingham Forest in the middle bunch. Just missing out on being relegated is Everton, Brentford and Southampton. And then in the bottom three, as we are right now, is Fulham, Bournemouth and Leeds. But you know what? We might sign some defenders. Nat Phillips might come back. We could potentially sign someone like Phil Jones. And just for this video, just because we need to be positive, and I don't want to see it at the end of this video, if we sign some players, it could look like that with Fulham, Brentford and Leeds in the bottom three. Had to try and turn this around positively, guys. Had to do it. So that's where we've left it. Thank you for getting involved in the chat. We're not quite finished yet, but thank you very much. And today, guys, we did sign Marcus Tavernier. It was on the cards. He was at the game on Saturday, I think, Steve, and I think they delayed the sort of unveiling of the signing until Monday because of the game, and obviously the Lionesses. Well done to you, winning the Euros yesterday, and they broke it straight away with that lounge, that deck chair on the stadium this morning. And Marcus Tavernier is an AFC Bournemouth player on a good deal. Coming to you first, Steve. Let's get it out there. We've got a transfer video out at the moment. So after this stream, if you haven't seen it yet, go and check it out. We spoke to Borough Breakdown Podcast, told us a lot about the player, give us the lowdown. So you want to know more about Marcus Tavernier and a player we've got on a 5-year deal, go check that out. But a player that's versatile, potentially looking at 4 positions, he could come into this side and have a starting place. A lot are saying he's going to come in at wing back, Steve, and pressure on Jordan Zamora maybe. But look, it's a player that has good technical ability, and people keep telling me, Steve, a workhorse, works hard. And Bournemouth fans, we love someone who can work hard.
I don't necessarily love someone that works hard, but I'll tell you who does love somebody who works hard is Scott Parker, because that's all he's ever banged on about since he's been here. And if he suits the model. But for me, it's a meh signing. It's another, like you say, versatile player that can play in a lot of positions. Does it really elevate what we've already got? That's the question I'm asking. I don't think it makes us any better, particularly.
The 3 signings we've made, Aaron, our signings for me are preparing for a season back in the Championship,
exactly that.
Potentially. And that's not to say that Marcus Tavernier can't have a very good season in the Premier League if we somehow get him in this team. But 5-year deal is a very good deal. Joe Rothwell, free transfer, Fredericks, all of these players would be very comfortable in the Championship if we got relegated.
Yeah, I think without a doubt. I mean, I don't know much about Tavernier, if I'm being honest. I saw your show with the Borough fan. I've seen lots of other Borough fans, raving about him, saying he really can step up. And he's a really high talent. I think without a doubt he's brought in as potential a versatility player, can play left wing back clearly if Jay-Z's injured or out of form. But yeah, I mean, I can only go on what I've seen, and they think he's ready for the step up. But whether he'll massively improve us is probably not the case. But he can play in a number of positions.
John, Marcus Tavernier, excited? Do you think he adds a different element to this side, or is he fitting in with what Scott Parker wants this season?
Well, based on what's being put out there, it seems as though he is being brought in mostly, or at least, I guess, primarily in a way, as an option at left wing back, which makes me look kind of stupid because I've got a tweet out there saying that personally, I would say bringing in, I think if I quote something like, bringing in Tavernier to play as a left wing back is bleeping stupid. And I'm not deleting that tweet because I still think it is. Because like you brought in a central midfielder, a player that may well have played at left mid at times previously, but for basically the entirety of last season played as a centre mid. He's brought himself through as a centre mid. He's a great box to box midfielder, which can tally well to a wing back. But it does work quite well. A central midfielder can tally quite nicely to a wing back. But it's a different set of skills. When you're in central midfield, you look up, you have 360 degrees of where you can pass the ball. That's not the case at left wing back, and he's not used to that position. If you're going to bring in someone to play at left wing back, even to challenge, bring in a left wing back. Yeah. Toffolo was bought by Nottingham Forest for 2.5 million, 3 million maybe. He would have been a fantastic option to really challenge Jordan Zamora as someone that fits in as basically exactly that kind of player, a very attacking left wing back. And Tavernier could be very good. He really could, but he's not shown what he can do in that position. He's not really trained for that position quite so much. It's going to take a while before he really comes in. And I would prefer him to be played as a central midfielder, but we've already got central midfielders coming out of our
We've got an abundance of them. Yeah.
So it literally, like as I was saying, I commented on other people's stuff when I saw when we were linked to Marcus Tavernier, and a load of people were saying, "Oh, he could be a really good left wing back." I was like, guys, if you were playing FIFA or Football Manager and you needed a left wing back, you're not looking for central midfielders. What, you wouldn't do that in a video game? Why are you doing it in real life? it's what frustrates me so much about this deal is that it could be good. That's fair enough. The wing backs don't cost 12 million. And if you're going to bring in a decent one from the Championship, you're looking 3, 5. It's not like we can't afford it, but just at least he'd be specialised for that position. He could work out brilliantly. It really could. You've always got to take some gambles when you're coming up to the Premier League. You have to take gambles. But I don't see this one as a very calculated one. I really don't at the moment.
I mean, nobody wants any of these guys to fail and have a bad season. Everyone wants them to flourish for us because it makes us it's better for everybody. It's just, I would ask the question: who else was in for Tavernier? Who else was in for Rothwell?
Forest,
Nottingham Forest.
Well, yeah, but
everyone. Any news, Aaron? Were they?
Apparently, there were quite a few clubs in for I can't even say his name.
Tavernier.
Should I say? Yeah.
The way Steve says it's even better.
Tavernier.
I said that a lot. I used to say that a lot, to be fair.
That's because it's right.
Look, we will see. And the people I've spoken to that watch Middlesbrough a lot have said to me that he can play off the wing, but his best performances last season were in a number 8, which we don't need him. But he can also play at wing back, but that was sort of where he started when he went to Borough through the ranks when they signed him. And then he ended up growing, going further on the pitch. So they're also interested, the people I've spoken to see how he gets in this Bournemouth team and where he plays. So we will find out very soon, maybe on Saturday. Maybe he gets a starting position.
Fingers crossed he doesn't get injured like the rest of them.
There are lots going on. We have got loads on the channel at the moment. If you head over, well, you're on the channel, but if you do have a look at the channel after this stream, we've got that Marcus Tavernier video. Go and check it out. It was released this morning. Jon Spark's done a Sparky stat video about Bournemouth's prospective centre-backs. 4 players he spoke about. Check that out. Some really, really good feedback. And then we've got the Premier League predictions. Check out mine and Steve's. 1 player to watch for every Premier League team. Well done for Mark Cole for winning that £25 gift voucher off the back of our kit release video. And the round table debates up to 1.8k views. And that was with our Fulham Focus friends and also a Nottingham Forest podcast. Keep supporting the channel. So we've got that going on at the moment. On Thursday, don't go anywhere. You need to come back to us for Thursday, 8 p.m. because we are back preparing for the Premier League as we take on Aston Villa. We're going to be live. It's interactive. We're back on the match previews. And I was going to show you the video, but it's not working, unfortunately. We'll try it again. It's not working. We got a match preview coming Thursday at 8 p.m. We will also have some of the team on, and we'll also have a Aston Villa opposition view as well. I did have a video prepared, guys, but it's not loaded. But let's go around the room. I'm going to try and get it up. I'm going to try.
You try and get it up? What sort of video is this?
Poor preparation. Let's go around the room again, guys. We've done this tier list. I'm going to try and get this video up. I know. I'm going to try and get this video up, and we'll close out the show. What a way to start our first Cherries Extra Time. And John, lots to come in the next week, potentially. We've got that match preview, and then we've also got the game on Saturday, Aston Villa.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all went around talking about Bournemouth and some ideas for the game as well. And yeah, we'll be really looking forward to seeing how we set up first and foremost. If we even stick with the back 3 or go back to the 4-3-3, and Parker's been playing us all along. Steve's got his fingers and toes crossed. But yeah, and also fingers crossed we might have another player in through the door. We keep getting linked to another defender linked that I saw recently, goalkeeper again that we've been linked with, because we've been through 3 different prospective goalkeepers at this point without signing anyone. So yeah, still a lot coming, and I'll have once the season started, I'll have some more stats to go on to bring out a video now and again. I'm hoping to get some regular content for you guys.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Aaron, we'll get into it, won't we? When the season starts, we'll get behind the team. Let's hope we're competitive on most days, and let's see if we can get to 37 points.
Look, just looking forward to it. Can't wait to be back at Dean Court on Saturday. Looking forward to seeing you guys who are there. Off we go again. as I said, this is a bonus season. Obviously, we want to be competitive. We want to do as best as we can. Let's just see what happens. Enjoy it. Let's just enjoy it. Enjoy the social and the traveling and everything else, at least. Yeah, look, I'm looking forward to it. And we're going into this season with really low expectations, so things can only really, hopefully, exceed those.
Right, I'm going to try this one more time. I've not even been able to pre-watch this, but I've just uploaded it again.
You're going to try and get it up again?
I'm going to try and get it up again because it's match preview live on Thursday night. Here we go.
You on square
There we go. Try and try again. Steve, scenes back then against Nottingham Forest. Will we get some scenes this season? We've got 38 games to get some.
Well, of course we will. Yeah, it's not going to be. I know I can be a bit doom and gloom at times, mostly all the time, but we will have some highs. But I think we'll have majority. There'll be quite a few losses this season, and it's inevitable, unfortunately, for a newly promoted side. But like Aaron said, it is a bit of a bonus. I don't think many of us saw us getting back so quickly, especially after we didn't go back up the first time. But here we are, and it's a fresh new look. It's a fresh new manager with a new squad, pretty much, barring a couple of old faces. So who knows? There's some players in there that have got a lot of points to prove. There's some youngsters that need to prove themselves. Can they do it in the Premier League? They've done it in the Championship. Can they now make the next step in their careers? We've got players that have come to us who are looking for that chance in the Premier League. We might all be, pleasantly surprised, and let's hope we are.
Brilliant. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, guys, for joining us on this tier list predictor. Appreciate it. Speak to you soon.
No problem. Thanks again.
See you later, mate.
Thank you to our sponsors, Aquashine Exteriors. Make sure you check them out. Details in the description, including their website. Also, thank you to you, those monthly members, and anyone who's donated recently. Do get involved. Prizes to be won in August throughout the season. More of that to come. And thank you for everyone who got involved tonight interactively. And make sure you join us on Thursday for that match preview, 8 p.m. versus Aston Villa. We're going to be talking about predicted lineups, those score predictions. We'll have a bit of a quiz in there maybe as well. Nothing too serious, but just a bit of fun as we prepare for Saturday. Right, look after yourselves. Make sure you hit the notification bell for any new content that comes out. But from me, John, Aaron, and Steve on this latest video, this stream, we will see you on the next one. Up the cherries.
Up the
Up
cherries.
cherries.